Hi everyone, and welcome to another Grumpy Dad's podcast. Chris, how are you this week?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, buddy. Weather's horrible. Kids are back at school though, so it's I'm getting back to normal, which is nice. Starting to stress levels are coming down and getting used to things again. Before we introduce our guest this week, obviously we had a competition last week with Reese, who was giving away a sketch. I'd like to announce the winner, which is a young man named Jack, which was put forward by his mum. I think Duncan's going to edit it, and you can see the photos of what he's done.
Here.
Perfect. Extremely talented young man, and his name is the Aviation Autistic Artist, 9 years old, I think. I'm pretty sure he's 9 years old, but watercolours and everything. I know this show isn't for kids, but a quick message to Jack: just keep carrying on. You're extremely talented and you're just going to get better and better and better, so stick with it, please. And we will send through the details and you can pick a sketch, and then Reese from last week's show will sort something out for you. So anyway, on to the guest. Duncan, do you want to make the introduction for this week?
Our guest this week is a comedian. She's an autism advocate, and she is just a very interesting person who's got a lot of stuff. Her YouTube channel is Sophie Lavender. Please welcome Sophie Lavender.
Hello.
Hi, Soph. Yeah, a few things. Soph, yeah, obviously you've got your vlog. You're a comedian. I did think of a couple of questions because this is not something I'd be able to do at all. I mean, I've stood at the front of a room of 20 people and in a work setting, and I've spoken in front of them, and I kind of know exactly what I'm going to say. It could be as if we're talking just now. I would never change my tone, but to think that I could stand in front of a huge amount of people and try to make them laugh, I can't think of anything more daunting. But how did that make you feel? Were you nervous before you stepped on? How did that come about?
I kind of ended up getting into comedy accidentally, like it wasn't intentional. Okay. It's always something that I've kind of wanted to do. You have those kind of like ideal jobs or those dreams that you have, but you're like, nah, I'm not sure. It would be nice, but I don't know. And then I kind of had an ADHD moment where I was really like hyper, my brain was racing, and I just thought of loads of jokes. I think I wrote in one night, I stayed up because I couldn't sleep, and I ended up writing like half an hour's worth of material. And then I was invited to a open mic poetry thing, and pretty much nobody turned up to perform. We were practically snowed in, so it was like, okay, we're stuck here now. This lady, Shan, she kind of like was going around from table to table. You could tell she looked quite upset because obviously nobody had turned up. And she was like, can people just literally just do anything? Like, I don't care anymore if it's even poetry, just like do anything. And I just remember that I had like this material on my phone, and I'm like, well, there's like 5 people here. So I think I can get away with these jokes because, they're going to laugh anyway. And my first poem was about beans, and it was the baked beans rhyme. But I kind of made it a bit depressing. So it goes, beans, beans, good for your heart. The more you eat, the more your life is torn apart by a crippling depression.
That's dark.
No matter how many beans you eat, your heart will never heal. It was that. Then I did my other bit of material that I had, which is a very inappropriate song about the Queen, Meghan Markle, and Kate Middleton, which I'm not repeating here.
Oh. That's going to have to be a cryptic competition for someone to get that.
And there was this lady that I met, and like we're still really good friends to this day. And she was like, that was brilliant. We want to get you involved in an arts group that we're doing. And I was like, okay. And it was the afternoon of when this art show was happening. And again, people started dropping out. And she was like, we want you to perform 15 minutes of stand-up, like now. And I then get like shoved on to the stage, and there was like a full crowd of people. Like it was bizarre. I kind of just was like, fudge it. Nothing can go dramatically wrong here because I don't know any of these people. So if they don't like it, I don't have to see them again.
Okay.
So, and then afterwards, two guys came up to me and told me about the events that they're doing and things like that. It's kind of just become a thing of I do comedy. Someone invites me to this thing. I go out of sheer curiosity of what this thing is, and then I get invited to another thing, and it's kind of just become a chain of going from one place to another. And I was asked to perform at Lincoln Pride
Oh, really? Okay.
and do stand up comedy there, and I think I performed in front of like 200 to 300 people.
Oh my God.
Like, it was insane. Since then, it's kind of been a whirlwind of stuff. I mean, I love chaos anyway. I just feel like my whole life is just chaos. So I might as well run with it and embrace it. And then I got involved with the local TEDx group, which then led me on to doing a TED Talk, which half of it was comedy, half of it was talking about just embracing the positivity that comes with being autistic.
Well, not all of us can look like Sheldon Cooper. Some of us have to be ginger.
And like you can still do things, you can still, follow your dreams and things like that. And there are lots of positives to being autistic that a lot of people don't realise. Since then, COVID happened.
Yeah.
So it's kind of evolved into doing like the bits of stuff on TikTok. But yeah, that's kind of the story. I kind of told the entire story.
Let's cut it there. It's all done. We're done for the podcast. She's told everything.
Yeah,
What's been the worst audience you've had? What's been the worst experience from comedy?
I was at a very small venue. It was a mixture of middle-aged people and students. I did my whole set, and there was just radio silence. And this happened like whenever I performed at this venue. Very awkward. It's like watching somebody give themselves a slow paper cut on stage.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
You mentioned TED Talks. Was there a difference from your stand-up compared to your TED Talks? Because it was still humorous and it was still comedy, but did you notice a difference?
Wanted to start off the TED Talk as if it was a stand-up set, and I wanted it to have the same kind of like rhythm and flow as what I usually do. A third of the way through, I wanted there to be a plot twist. I was like, bam, childhood trauma, and that knocked me back as well because it's the first time that I'd actually done that in anything that I'd done before.
You were quite emotional saying it, weren't you?
Yeah, and it was like my mum was in the audience. It was the first time that she heard my TikTok as well. She'd had no idea what I was going to talk about. And so everything was a surprise. But I didn't want to like drop people down and then be mega depressing. And so the last third, pick it back up again, drop in a few more jokes and things like that. References about like, you only want autistics when there's something wrong with your computer and they're the only ones that can fix it. One thing that I like to do in my comedy is I like to take certain stereotypes but make them positive. Last year I was blonde, I dyed my hair blonde. It would have been very easy to go down the non-blonde joke route. But the twist is that I'm glad people see me as a dumb blonde because nobody asks me questions about Brexit anymore.
I suppose that's it.
That's why Boris has got the blonde hair now.
I think that's a really good advantage to being autistic, is that we automatically see the world from a different perspective.
My favourite comedians all have that trait to them. They all see the world from that slightly different perspective. Like Billy Connolly's my favourite comedian ever. It got me into comedy in the beginning. And it's just that slightly askewed way of looking at things. One of my favourites is Jerry Seinfeld. And he's just opened up that he's autistic.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense because when you hear his stand-up, when you look at what he says, he's got this just a strange way of looking at the world that's slightly askew. It's just not quite centered. It's just that little bit off, and just sees it from a different perspective. I love that in comedy. I think it's a brilliant aspect of it that you do through a lot of comedy, see the world in just a slightly different way. Stereotypes are brilliant for that because they're just such a goldmine of material, I'm guessing. I mean, I'm Australian, so naturally I have a barbecue, which I do, and nobody touches my barbecue, which they don't. And I meet the stereotype in some ways, but in so many ways I don't. Obviously I'm not athletic at all, and I don't like beaches, mainly because living in Australian waters tries to kill you. That sort of. But yeah, stereotypes must be a gold mine to work on for comedy material.
Absolutely. I mean, my favourite comedian is Peter Kay, hands down, because his is very observational humour and it relates to over 99% of people with his stand-up, where everything he says, he's finding this funny side to it that we've all lived through. Let's move on to film, because obviously me and Duncan being parents, I think it is law that we have to be into Disney movies because we've got kids, especially with Disney. I'm talking about the days, the golden age, I would have said, of like the Aladdin, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. With the Disney movies, especially today, I just think the kids have kind of been cheated out of what I've grown up with. Like I said, the golden age, where I always see those older movies as being made with a lot of love and a lot of dedication from the people that made them, right from the voice acting to the animation, everything about it. There's a strange feeling you get when you watch these movies, and now we get onto the remakes, and I haven't got that same magic, and I can't help but think there's something very, very commercial in that sort of thing now.
Yeah, the remakes are definitely, it's one of those things that is commercially driven, I think. It's like there is no particular need for these remakes, other than the fact that, people already like the story. I can see that in some cases it's nice to refresh something for the modern era. But if you've got all that money, make something new.
Yeah.
I think they're sadistic bastards. I actually think there's a really evil streak to someone in Disney because everything's so damn depressing. Every movie, someone really keen dies. I'm a big bloke. I can't be seen crying at the theatre. I've got a reputation.
Yes, you can. Express your feelings.
I've seen in Lion King. He's there with his dad. He says, like, something wrong, Daddy? No, I'm fine.
Honestly, I don't think as you get to around my age and Duncan's age, if you're a man, it doesn't matter. This is not a toxic masculinity thing. The fact is, when you have kids and you get so little sleep, I mean, I find myself crying. Adverts now with a kid falls over and starts crying. I can feel myself welling up. It's horrible. I don't think I cried between the ages of 20 and 30, but as soon as I had kids, that's it. I see something that just goes in my mind. I see something that's relatively sad, and I can feel a lump in my throat. It's horrible.
I get it all the time now. It's just horrible. It's that thing of what happened to me. Like you say, Sophie, it's great in many ways, and I'm actually someone who is quite open with my emotions.
Yeah.
And how I'm feeling, and you see that on my YouTube. There's a couple of times I've come close to breaking as I'm talking about stuff. But I laugh at my wife because she'll sit there watching. What were we watching? We were watching it was Disney, the remake of Beauty and the Beast, and she was there bawling her eyes out, and I'm like, really? But then you still get it, and you're like, there's just certain things hit, and there's something about Disney films that they know how to make it really emotional at that point. So you are sitting there like, I think more people die in Disney films than Rambo. It's like, we've got to kill everybody who matters off in some way. There was the Good Dinosaur. That was just like, what is going on?
Oh. What's
the John Lewis advert this year?
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah. That's going to destroy all of us.
It
If
will.
David doesn't kill us, the emotional torment for the John Lewis advert will.
What is your favourite Disney movie? And what is your favourite character as well?
Oh, this is so hard because I like them all. Like, I'm one of these people that what can only watch a film once.
Yeah.
One character that I relate to a lot is Dory. I see forgetful fish. I'm like, that's me. And in the Onward film, I related a lot to the older brother who just wants to drive around, listen to death metal, and play D&D. I'm like, that's me. That's my 20s summed up right there.
What about your favourite movie?
As a little kid, I liked Beauty and the Beast a lot. I also liked The Little Mermaid a lot as well.
Okay.
So yeah, those are the top two.
Right, those questions are going to you now, Duncan. You're not getting off so lightly with this.
We know how much you like Disney.
Yes.
I like the Pixar shorts. They're over really quickly.
Yeah.
I've seen them so many times. You were saying you don't like to watch a film more than once, Sophie. Never have kids. All I do is come down to the same thing every single day. It's just like, I saw a great meme that was parenthood training should just be sleep deprivation and watching the same episode of Peppa Pig 24/7, because that is what it's like.
Yeah.
And it's even worse now with YouTube, because obviously we love YouTube. Good on you, YouTube. We love our channel. Ryan, I want to have a bitch about Ryan. I can't stand that little kid. Maybe not him so much. His mum. It's almost like they searched the world for the world's most annoying voice.
Oh, good. Okay.
And then
Who was that? Sorry.
Ryan's
you never come
Toys.
across Ryan's toy review, and then you watch him, and he's just. I had the worst moment the other day actually, because my son really likes Ryan, hence why I have so much experience with Ryan at the moment. And he's got a Nickelodeon show now, and where it's like he gets surprise guests on to play. And they're always someone fairly mediocre. And then there was this one, it's like, oh, it's a guitar. And I'm like, oh, well, at least that's, up my alley somewhere. Oh, and he's a singer. And it was, oh, yeah, okay. Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
What?
Was the guy. And I've never been so conflicted in my life. It was like, why are you on it? Then his daughter came and I was like, that's what this is about, isn't it? It's the daughter's obviously a fan, and this was your way of. But I've never felt so conflicted. But to go back, Wreck-It Ralph's my favourite Disney film by a long shot. I think it's just so funny. And as a concept, I don't know how anyone came up with that. That is just like an absolute brainstorm on screen. It is just incredible. And I think it was perfectly cast. All of the voice actors were just brilliantly chosen for their roles, to the point that John C. Reilly, I think it is.
Yes.
He almost is Ralph. It's like they managed to sort of distill him into that character. I just think it's brilliantly written, brilliantly funny. And I remember watching it the first time thinking, thank you, this is so much better. But now we've watched it 638 times. I'm probably not.
That film is a marvel, though. It not just because of the make and the cast and everything like that, but if you think in today's world how much is attached to brands and how heavily protected they are and how much they cost to even relate to them or put them next to your brand, Wreck-It Ralph just is everywhere.
Second one, yeah.
And it was brilliant to watch as well, because obviously you've got Sonics, Marios, everything you could think of is just being thrown at that movie. And you're thinking, how have they managed to get the rights to use all of these characters without sort of tripping up and getting sued for billions? I've kind of changed my mind now, because it's got to be Wreck-It Ralph. It's got to be Wreck-It Ralph. Although growing up, Aladdin was one of my favourites by far. Yeah, I think Aladdin has to be there. And the thing is that I played the games as well that came out with it. So I think it was on the Mega Drive. And there was something so special about that game, because I got it for Christmas with the Mega Drive. So it's not just that, it's just that special link of waking up at my age on Christmas Day and getting that huge present that's the Mega Drive and the Aladdin game. There's a lot of fun memories, so definitely Aladdin.
Aladdin, your favourite panto as well, then?
I think the only time that I've been to a pantomime has been with school. I've never been to a pantomime apart from that.
I ended up in a situation 2 years ago where to evade copyright law, and I, like an idiot, was like, I'll write you a pantomime. And I think I stayed up for 2 weeks solid writing a new Snow White pantomime where one of the seven dwarfs was Trumpy. They think every line that Trumpy had was an actual Donald Trump quote.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So Trumpy's lines were actually Trumpy quotes.
Have you guys seen the promotion from Spitting Image? Donald Trump's in it, Michael Gove's in it.
Oh, brilliant.
And Michael Gove picture, well, you'll see it. It's funny. Boris, there is a lot to, I mean, you can have a look once we finish this, but it is hilarious.
I'm literally going to Google this as soon as we hang up.
Michael Gove, I've got to say, is the funniest by far, and you'll see exactly what I mean. It is hilarious.
Isn't it sad that our world's got back to the point where actually Spitting Image is going to... There's so much material out there now. We've had quite boring politics for a long while, but suddenly we've got these comic book characters as world leaders, and it's like, yes, Spitting Image is needed.
It is.
One thing that I've noticed as well is that a lot of satire writers have openly said that they're finding it difficult to write satire at the moment because the real world is more crazy than anything that they could ever come up with. I think it's the South Park writers that said that they stopped writing South Park for a while because we actually can't keep up with the real world. Like, the real world is too much.
Yeah. Shall we move on to the feature that we're introducing? I haven't got a name for it. Amazon Addicts, did you say? Antics. Yeah, sure. Let's call it Amazon Antics.
Antics Prime.
Yeah. Oh. That is very, very good. I think, yeah. So the rules. I read out a review of a product and you guys have got to guess what the product is. There will be 3 reviews. And if you guess it on the first review, it's 3 points. Second review is 2 points. Third review is 1 point. And we do 3 items.
Instead of points, can we call it stars? Like the review stars?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'll start with, was a gift for my daughter. She wanted to look like mum. The box is so small.
The thing that springs to mind...
Is this your
guess?
guess?
I'm just saying it in case that counts as a guess.
It is a guess if you say it. You only get 1 guess.
A makeup palette?
She's done. That's it. So 3 points for the first one. I can't believe you got that from that. That's unbelievable. Your first guess, makeup palette. I can't believe that. I'm going to give the other 2 reviews because that's a waste otherwise. I wasn't expecting you to get it with your first guess. I look like a clown, awful. And the third review was, the colours are dreadful, my 15-year-old is fuming. Right, so next product. When he opened, one had a segment missing. The rest were whitey grey. It even had a foul smell.
So it's a segment's missing.
Yeah.
And it's the colours off and it's got a bad smell.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it could be some kind of food product.
You're not allowed to ask.
That's not allowed.
That sounded like a question. You're not allowed to ask questions.
I'm just going to frame my guesses as questions so that you don't think I'm making valid guesses.
This isn't my guess, but I would actually say a drawer in my daughter's bedroom from what you described there. I'm going to go with toy like plasticine or something like that was supposed to come in.
No.
I think it could be a bit of furniture, like a set of drawers.
No. Next review. Shockingly overpriced, 3 for £8, 99p in the pound shop.
It's chocolate. It's chocolate that's gone off.
Is that your guess?
I'll go eye colour.
No, Duncan. Partly right, Sophie, but I can't give you the answer because chocolate is way too broad. I'll give you the last one.
It's chocolate orange, isn't it?
I am going to get... There's a pattern emerging where, Sophie, you're supposed to be in teams, but Sophie, you've got 5 points on your own here.
Yes, because I'm psychic.
You would have got it with the third review, which is I use them for baking a lot, but the chocolate was mouldy. Right, so 5 points out of 6. The last one. These are the small ones I wanted large, deceiving, and unable to return.
Pants.
Okay, not pants. Okay,
No.
it's a good guess. It's a very good guess, Duncan.
Pants or socks.
Neither, but you've got to stop guessing, Duncan.
I'm going to go with a T-shirt.
No, good guess though. Next review. It did not serve its purpose. Left frustrated and sensitive.
I mean, it has the vibe of it's a clothing item, but I'm not 100% sold.
It's not condoms, is it?
Let me see if that goes along with the thought process of the clues I give. It did not serve its purpose. Left frustrated and sensitive. Could be there. No, it's not. But I can see the thought process. Yeah.
Can't return it either.
No, you can't return those.
Imagine if you did, like, you ended up with a kid who just returned the kid to the condom company. Your mistake. And then just get into work in the factory line.
Oh my god. Right, Sophie, you still got a guess. No, in fact, Sophie, I'm taking your guess off you because you had 3 guesses on the first one, so
Yeah,
you've
take
lost
it on,
one.
it's fine. I can't think of
You can guess on the next one. Right. I have sensitive skin and it made me break out. Way too sharp.
Is it like a razor, like a shaving razor?
Yeah, it is. That's 6 out of 9. That's a really, really hell of an achievement when you've had no help whatsoever from your teammates. You've literally guessed all 3. That is brilliant. We'll stick you on the leaderboard, so you're going to be top for at least a week. But I would say that is going to be a tough score to beat. I enjoyed that though. I thought that was really good.
I did come across a thing called like worst reviews or something like that, where it wasn't just Amazon, it was for the whole internet of like people leaving like reviews on obscure items. I recently came across one called WTF Wish, and it's all the weird shit that people have seen on Wish.com.
Oh, Wish is a good one.
It's brilliant.
Oh yeah. Sometimes I go on Wish and people can put up photos as well. So me and the wife will look for these because it's known a lot of the garments that are made in China and that they're slightly smaller than what's stated, and people will go, "This is way too small," and they look like a sausage that's been wrapped in net. And so, why would you take a picture of that and put it on the internet? It's a little pastime of ours where we kind of laughing at people that have bought it, put it on, and then decided to show everybody and say, "I'm annoyed." But if you're annoyed, don't make a fool of yourself. Just say it was too small. We only need the text for that. So
on Wish.com, you have to provide photos if you want your item to be refunded. I ordered like a photography backdrop, and the resolution was awful on it. It wasn't cheap either, so that I was really annoyed with that. And they were like, "You need to send us as many pictures as possible, or you can't get your money back." So I think people are having to photos just to get their money back without realising that
they're putting it on.
It might end up on the review page.
The people who take these selfies and they don't consider the background as they're doing them, you just like weird stuff going in the background.
So much brilliant stuff happened. Yeah.
Mirror reflections of things that shouldn't be reflected and all that kind of stuff.
Look at there's this brilliant thing to search if you're feeling down and you want to laugh, is that look at people selling mirrors on Facebook Marketplace. I saw one as well of like a Facebook Marketplace fail where somebody was taking a photo of like a metallic kettle, but they weren't wearing anything. And they took the photo not realising what it was reflecting. But there was also that woman on eBay about 10 years ago. She ended up making £130,000 because she took a photo of a dress, not realising that the reflection showed her not wearing anything. And like it went viral, it went in the Daily Mail, it went in the Sun. Like this photo just went everywhere.
Is there anything
What are you
else?
guys thinking of the new restrictions?
Looking from a public health perspective on how do we stop a virus, I think too little has been done too late.
When the whole thing started yesterday, and you started off with the stitching time saves 9.
Oh.
And I tweeted this morning, my first thought was, that would have been great advice 8 stitches ago, because this just seems to be like...
Literally.
The horse is well and truly bolted. I wouldn't worry about the gate, you know.
Where I live locally, one school had to send the entirety of year 9 home because 3 kids gave each other COVID on the school bus.
My daughter goes to school in a taxi because she's at a special needs school, so she gets taxied in every morning. And I just got home, and it was one of those times where I was really tired. I had a pretty busy day before. I was actually looking to get some editing done. We just done it with Reese, and I was like, all right, get some editing done and get that done. Sat down, and I got this phone call, and it's the school going, look, I'm really sorry. The child in Sienna's taxi was coughing, so she's got to come home until he get a clear COVID test. I'm like, that's nuts. It's cough season. Everyone's got a damn cough at the moment.
Yeah.
She spent 3 days at home until you got a clear COVID test. She was fine. It was just...
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a point. I think I feel sorry for Boris in this. I don't like Boris, but I feel sorry for him because there's no win in whatever he does at the moment. Because it's either a health that's going to suffer or it's the economy that's going to suffer, and that long-term impact is huge. And there's no easy way out of this for anyone because we've got to keep things ticking over. It's one of those things that I think Chris would probably agree with me being a dad. Our kids need school. I don't think we can keep kids from school because the lockdown period, I mean, the change in my son is really happy little chap. But you keep kids trapped inside for that long and the inability to interact with friends. You know, kids are by nature social. Even my daughter, she's autistic and she struggles with friendships, but she's becoming kind of a shell of herself. The difference in their mental health since going back to school has been remarkable. And I think that's really needed. And I think that's the other thing that doesn't get considered is the impact on mental health. It's just huge. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And thank you so much to the fabulous Sophie Lavender. Please do tune into her YouTube channel, Shalom Lavender. She's on TikTok. She's on Instagram with her art. Check her out. She's fantastic. Thank you so much, Sophie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And thank you, Chris, as always.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, everyone.